Take a look at these ants. They're pretty busy working around the clock trying to get things done in the quickest way possible. To do that, these little guys need to make choices that benefit their colony so they can have even more ants. The choices they make will lead to more food in the fastest and easiest way possible. Here's an example. I put 2 jars outside yesterday, one taller and the other shorter. Inside both jars, I put water and sugar. The amount of ants swarming the shorter jar was astounding. Efficiency. That's what they value. I'm going to demonstrate something now that works with almost every living organism. Look at this flight of stairs. Now look at this one. Imagine there's something you want at the top of both of them. Pick one flight to climb. The answer is ridiculously simple. The short one, obviously, because we're all about getting there faster. When we expand this idea into a plane larger than McDonald's at the top of some stairs, we get efficiency. Yes, efficiency. That's what everyone's talking about these days in cars, planes, production, and pretty much everything out and about in the world. Here's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to take this concept we see today and throw it back in time and see how it sticks. Back to the UK in the 1700s, let's say. Now think about the one thing that made our age so efficient. What phase did humans go through that gave us all this tech? Here's a hint. It starts with in and ends with Industrial Revolution. The one thing I want to focus on is the people of that day and age. I thought a while about it, and this is what I came up with. People are only valuable when they are efficient. Back then, all those workers, namely the farmers that made up 75% of Britain's population, were about to be replaced by something they couldn't compete with. The age of mechanization. No, I'm not talking about Terminator and how that's going to destroy humanity. But it may have seemed like it from a 1700s farmer's point of view. Now, let me put that point of view into perspective. Imagine this. You're at work and a new guy walks in. He cracks his knuckles and begins to do 8 times the amount of work you do. Feeling a bit uncomfortable, you go and investigate a bit. Upon leafing through some papers, you find that he gets paid a fraction of what you are. Disturbed now, you go on your lunch break only to see the new guy still flying through the tough work like nobody's business. The day ends, you go home and take some time to relax. Right? Guess who's still working at the office? It's like a machine. The next morning, you receive a letter from the government saying that they want your house out of here. Reading on, you find that the reason behind this eviction to be the new guy wants more room to work in. They need a bigger office. Your house is good office space. It makes sense to them. Now, let's jump back to the 1700s. Bam! The spinning mule is thrown in your face. It's a device that spins 8 times the amount of cotton a single spinning wheel does. It can probably cover you in a pile of cotton before you make a scarf. And it doesn't sleep, eat, or want money. Well, duh. It's a machine. Workers back then just couldn't compete. Big farm machinery burst onto the stage with the General Enclosure Acts. And now, these things took your land and gave it to big industries to run their machines on. They work better than humans. Their needs now come first. Workers were reduced to slaving in factories where every breath just killed you a little more than usual. If you were a child, you ask? Great, you'll fit into those small gaps in the machines. People died in the jobs they are demoted to. All in the name of efficiency. Well, at least we don't live in a place like that. It's good to know about these things, I guess. Shouldn't be a problem for us. Wrong. Remember when I said this concept worked for every living organism out there? I meant it. This mindset pervades through all ages, the past, the present, and definitely the future. I'm going to take you through one last imaginary scenario. Imagine you go to school. You go to a nice institution, graduate, and apply for a job in the field of programming. Nothing seems to be biting your well-educated, locally grown, refined hook, though. That's because there are other fish in the sea. There's something else across the world that is being hired to do your job for less than half of what you are paid. You can't compete with that, living here. Now, I want you to snap back into the real world. Whoa, wait a second. That wasn't an imaginary scenario. This sort of thing happens right here, right now. A lot of companies and corporations are deciding not to hire their hometown hands because they have better options. Across the sea in Asia, there's a myriad of people vying for your local jobs, holding up signs asking for a fraction of your salary. It's like a messed up inverse auction going down. Except, once you think about it, it makes sense. It makes sense in the same way it does for the ants climbing the shorter jar. It makes sense in the same way producers prefer machines over workers in the 1700s. It makes sense in the same way all of us like to climb that shorter flight of stairs. Sadly, it all makes sense. Same.